Sorry.
My name is Abina Johnson, and this is Focus on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmas, mountain back to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Pokonjre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Talk about home affairs, hey, in diaspora, current affairs, hey, reliable information, history, talking about culture, yeah, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Friday Night Debate on Focus on Liberia. My name is Dennis Jai, and we're broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. In tonight's edition of Focus on Liberia, we're going to be looking at very important topics here. Number one, we're going to be looking at the resignation of the NaFAA bus, also the NTA, the new buses, another breakdown, and SKD hotel lease to a Chinese company. These and many more we're going to be discussing tonight. Let me welcome Mr. Jimmy Ismail, who's joining us from the nation's capital. Welcome, Jimmy.
Hey, thank you, Dennis. It's a pleasure being here tonight with this distinguished panel.
Thank you. Let me also welcome Dr. Jones Otavius Male, who's joining us from on the East Coast, Providence. Welcome, Jones. Dr. Male.
Thank you, moderator. Hope to be here tonight, as usual, to share our little opinion, and together we'll move forward.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me welcome all our viewers from across the globe. This is Friday Night Debate, and we're going to be highlighting some key issues making headlines in Monrovia. All right, President Joseph Newman Boakai accepted the resignation of Emma Glasgow, who is the Director General of the National Fisheries and Aquatic Authority, NaFAA. The backdrop: Glasgow had earlier been suspended over corruption allegations with an ongoing Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission investigation. She denied the claims and even filed a case at the ECOWAS court. At the ECOWAS court. Let's stop there. Now, my question is tonight, Jimmy, let me come to you first. Glasgow has been working at National Fisheries. A lot of people credit her for doing some good things with reforms in fisheries and international partnership. Her departure raised questions about whether this signal a quiet settlement or what's going on. What's going on, Jimmy?
Well, let's look at it from the beginning. She was, like you said, there are some allegations of corruption against her, misappropriation, and there is an ongoing investigation. Even though in her communication, Madam stated that her decision followed careful reflection and was owing to personal reasons. One must only wonder if these ongoing investigation had anything to do with it. What we've seen in this administration is that they are replacing all those officials, even those who have tenure, like the LTA, the National Bank. They're replacing all of them. So it's kind of surprising that by now they had not replaced Madame Glasgow. However, like you said, have heard good things about her and about her performance at the National Fisheries and Aquaculture Agency. But it still remains that there's an ongoing investigation about her. So if that is the case, I mean, it's totally understandable why she would choose to resign at this point, since she doesn't she doesn't benefit from the president's confidence. So we see a lot going on here. The Buckeye administration chose to leave her in position. However, there's an ongoing investigation about her, and now she chooses to resign. I honestly believe without the results of that investigation, that it tends to look more political than anything else, and for that we would have to, speak to her to let her give us more profound reasons why she would simply opt to resign at this point. But it looked very political to me, Dennis.
Thank you. Dr. Marley, what does Emma Glasgow resignation and corruption allegation she denied say about the anti-corruption fight? She denied the allegations. She resigned. The president accepted the resignation. Are we expecting this investigation to go on? Or what do we expect? What do we expect? Or this will be the end of the investigation, since she's no longer there? What do you think?
Well, I think that she has the right to resign, and the president retained the right to accept her resignation, and the president also have the right to hire and fire. But in the instance where this ongoing investigation and you decide to resign, I don't know the details. I have not read the reason why she rather resign.
She stated her reason.
Okay. But I think sincerely the investigation should proceed, because probably the investigator saw something for which they had her off and for which she was removed or suspended. And if for any reason she have decided at this time to resign, she have all right to do that. But I think the investigation will need to continue for two reasons. One, her character and reputation is at stake. Two, she need to clear her name. Tell her we live in a society where people get stigmatized. And if you don't fight to remove some of this stigma on your reputation, people tend to look at it from different lenses and different angles. So I think it should continue to the point where she will be finally cleared or found guilty. but I think it should continue rather than it being shelved because she resigned. And I think it should be also on her too to make sure that the investigation is conclusive because of her reputation. And she need to clear her name and thinking, say, just walking off free and the president has accepted and she's sitting there. She could come one day and she could be one day fortunate to have to work in another government and someone could raise the issue up. And I don't know what she'll have to say. So I think it would be wise for the investigation to continue and we have a logical conclusion as to where she stands.
Yeah, and Jimmy cited some examples. We saw that in the CBL case. We saw that in LTA, where the people are there's a pattern here, Dr. Mali, that first of all there was this issue with tenure official with Black Eyes government, right? Now what we've seen so far is there will be an audit or the audit report, and then the person is suspended, the person resigns, and in one or two instances there was settlement, like in the case of the former CBL governor. Do we expect the same to happen in this Glasgow case, where the person resigned, you drop the case, and in fact the person gets settled? They get money, sometimes 300,000 or more. Is that the same thing we expect in this Glasgow case, or you think the investigation is going to proceed and whatever the law will take its course?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Yes. The Ben governor was removed and compensated with, according to sources, $374,000 his remaining paid because he was a tenured officer. So I think every case has got its merits and demerits.
NaFAA too is tenure.
NaFAA is tenure, but the gravity and the nature of those various cases probably are different. At the National Bank, these are key strategic arm of government as compared to NaFAA. NaFAA is one of the strategic arm, but I don't know whether it's quite strategic to the heart of the executive mansion. As compared to
what do you mean? You mean if you're not strategic, you can steal and go free?
No, this is a central bank of the Republic of Liberia. It's very strategic. All right? As compared to NaFAA, NaFAA is not as strategic as compared to the central bank of the Republic of Liberia.
Okay.
Yes. So much attention needed to be given to the central bank in my own thinking as compared to NaFAA. But
the principle, Dr. Mali, is first there's corruption allegation,
yes,
and the person is suspended. Then what we see next is settlement. The person is settled, and then the case is dropped, or we don't hear anything about the case. We saw that with Central Bank. We saw that with LTA. Now we're seeing the same thing with. So do we expect the exact same thing happening in the NaFAA case? That's my question.
I don't think so.
Why not?
There are two reasons for this. First of all, the outgoing governor at the Central Bank of Liberia. I don't know whether he was carried away by the huge cash and forgetting about clearing his reputation or clearing his name. I don't know whether he forgot to do that and decided to take the cash to go away. But with this one, that's what I'm saying. Every case has got its own merits and demerits. With that case, I don't know whether they're going to be settlement. But for the Central Bank of Liberia, I mean, that settlement was all over the place. It was all in the newspaper. The information minister spoke about it. But with this one, don't forget, a resignation has been accepted. And in the case of the Central Bank, there are no such thing, the resignation being accepted. No.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
I think there's a pattern here now. Why is this? What do you foresee
when it comes to
as a conclusion to this case?
Okay, so Dennis, let's point out something. we've seen leaders in these various institutions and organizations have even been sanctioned by governments such as the U.S. government. But till today's date, we don't see any of them have been prosecuted for the alleged wrongdoings. Are we saying that there's no information available, that according to some, that the U.S. Made a mistake, they were misinformed, yet they still instill these sanctions on these individuals? In my reasoning, it is because we do not take seriously prosecution of corruption in our country. We do not. So what we do is use politics to make our decisions. It's not based on somebody. It's not based on performance. It's not based on corruption or anything like that. It's all about politics. So, and I brought this into because as much as the DG here, Glasgow, had been accused under investigation, there's no record of her being put on sanction lists, like we know the personalities of Terway, from the port manager, McGill, the finance minister, Twer. None of these people, all these people have been put on sanctions, but not her. So why then is her investigation more significant than these people?
No, but Jimmy, what this got to do with sanction? Because the investigation that got us suspended came from the audit, the audit that was done by the GAC, right? So what does it have to do with sanctions?
What I'm saying, if it was so serious, it would have been flagged by other people, by other bodies.
Okay.
It would have been flagged. So what it appears to look at is kind of like strong arming her to resign. But let's look at the ill effects of this sort of thing, that when they do it, this is a disruption to institutional continuity and certain strategic initiatives. There's certain things she has set in motion. I remember they we're talking about what do they call it? Fish, where we create aquaculture. That way we have enough swamps and whatnot in Liberia. We can create we don't have to import fish.
Aquaculture.
Okay? Yeah, aquaculture. We what else would happen? There was going to be a reduced enforcement capacity. The EEU questioned the decision of the past Unity administration of granting Chinese fishing rights in our shores. The EU president said, but why would you do that? Okay. Then so it also creates uncertainty among investors. If there were investors seeking to engage in Liberian fisheries, and investors and donors and development partners, by removing her from this position, investors and partners need stable institutions and stable leadership to ensure commitment. So these political maneuvers have a way of negatively affecting us if we have somebody who is performing well in the position. So why are we going after people who are performing well and leaving people who are known to be on a sanction list because of their wrongdoing? I think we're missing the target here.
So your assumption now, or what your opinion is, this is a political maneuver.
That's right.
Dr. Mali, Madam Emma Glasgow was already under investigation, right? So in the middle of it, she resigned. Should President Bouakar's acceptance of her resignation be seen as accountability or compromise?
Well, before I address that question, first of all, I differ with Mr. Eastman on so many layers of his analysis. It seems to be we drifting away more from the merit of the issue and try to get politics into the middle of it. I'll come to that. But accepting her resignation is the president's prerogative. The president has the right to reject or accept. I think accepting the resignation is a plus.
Holding her accountable or compromise?
Yeah, I think it was a plus for the president to do that. But it was a downside on her part while investigation is going on and you decide to render your resignation. I mean, I see a self-defeating preposition. She shouldn't have done that because her reputation is at stake. And to your question, I don't see it to be more of a politics. I think I see it to be more of an administration procedure, because I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have gone to tender in my resignation. No, I wouldn't have done that because it seems to be it's an implicit guilt. That's what it means. And so as a president, I will be consistent and persistent to make sure the investigation comes to a logical conclusion.
So what does accepting the resignation while under conclusion or investigation mean? Because she was already suspended.
That was it.
Accept a resignation. What message as president are you sending?
The message that I'm sending is that you did that out of goodwill, and it is my right to accept or reject. So I decided to accept. The message that is that the reason for which she left, she had now nullified the reason for which she left. So in another word, it even going to increase her investigation. It even going to compound the investigation on her. She shouldn't have done that. The president have the right to accept her resignation.
You think she's gonna go? You think she's gonna go to jail?
Well, that would depend on the outcome of the investigation.
Yeah, but because you're saying already resigning, meaning that she's pleading guilty. That's what I'm hearing from you.
Yes. Why did she resign? She had no business doing that. Or she doesn't care for her reputation or what?
So normally, Dr. Mali, what I'm trying to tell you is that's what they have been doing. Every time you're under investigation, you resign, you get your cut.
Okay.
Why do you think it's going to be different this time?
So let me address this issue. I totally disagree with your premise.
No, it has happened twice now.
No. Happening twice could be an isolated cases. You don't know.
Okay.
This is not a dozen of cases. No, not at all. So we can't politicize this segment of the discussion. Just at them being 12, 13, 15 people resigning and getting taxpayer money to go away. No. You see, this is, I think, as far as I'm concerned from my analysis, this is the first time, the bank governor was the first time he was paid off, and probably he decided for the investigation to go hayway or it dies down, fine. But I haven't heard of any official who was suspended for maybe malpractices or corruption allegation and was paid off. So, moderator and Mr. Ismail, I just want us to set the record straight. It's not a pattern. These might be an isolated cases, and we cannot politicize it.
Thank you, Jimmy. Your response, and then we'll go to our next issue.
Okay, but before I begin to rebut just what Dr. O'Malley was saying, where is the evidence that you provided to show that this is not political? Where's the evidence?
Okay, then what comes around goes around. What is your evidence that this is political as well? It is not political because the president accepted a resignation. And it's a normal practice in the administration, Mr. Eastman. You've been around, you know. It's a normal practice. If I come, you investigating me, and at some point I give you my resignation. You wouldn't accept it? It is left for you to accept it or to reject it. All right? Maybe you might reject it on ground that investigation is going on. I can't accept your resignation. Okay? But in my mind, in my opinion, if I accept it, as a principal-minded administrator, the investigation will still continue. Then you who have resigned, it is on you to challenge my office so that your reputation will be clear. Why are you leaving all these things wrapped up and walking away? Mr. Eastman, why?
Okay, so it is widely known that under the stewardship of Madame Glasgow, NaFAA secured some vital international partnerships and supported coastal communities, helping to position fisheries as a key pillar of Liberia's emerging economy. This is what we know. So her resignation against the backdrop of her suspension by President Boakai, who earlier this year, I think it was LACC, started investigating for anti-corruption. She believes that she doesn't enjoy the confidence of the president. And since she doesn't, and since she's in an appointed position, and she doesn't enjoy the confidence of the president, you've been working hard. You've been promoting this thing. I'm telling you, fisheries is one of the most beneficial organs or economic entities of our government. And it's not appreciated. You're being investigated. You're being suspended. I myself will resign, especially because I know what I've been doing. I will resign because I know very well that you're not looking at my track record, but you're looking at something else, or you want me to leave the position. That is why you're bringing these accusations against me.
Thank you.
Anybody with clean hands will resign.
Moderator, just 30 seconds, please. I hope without confusing functional output with presidential appointment. Because if I appoint you, loyalty is key.
It's a tenure position.
Okay. Let's say it's a
President Walker did not appoint her. She was there, and she's supposed, by virtue of it being tenure, she's supposed to say 11 of
time. By virtue you are tenure. I mean, you occupying the position as a tenure officer. You can be removed on the basis of cost.
Right.
Okay. So back to Mr. Eastman. I must really congratulate her for her innovation.
That's a matter. Well, you said you can be removed for cost.
Yes.
So if the cost got to be established, right? So that's why she's going through the investigation. So in the middle of it, she say, "I resign." And what we've seen before, when they resign, they get settled. So I want you to tell me why we shouldn't see it that way.
No, when you're using the word "it gets settled," then that means it's policy oriented, and I disagree with that.
So they normally go to the Supreme Court and say, "Well, take this money and then you just go by your business. Then we don't have to pursue the case." That's what has been happening.
Well, I find a problem with the word "settle." I don't know whether it applies in her case. All right, but what I wanted to address here is that she's not the only knowledge-based expert in the fisheries sector. No. So if she brought a lot of good innovative idea, there are other knowledge-based people there. Government is continuity. Equally so, various departments are also continuity. All right. So other people will take from there to go. So when Eastman said, when these things happen, he tend to link it to the issue of seeming instability. No, I disagree with that. Because if one knowledge is removed, another icon will be placed there to carry on the good job she did. So there's no problem there. But I think there was a cause for which His Excellency took the decision. The Excellency, I mean, he's running a very responsible government. And a very responsible government will not just be moving people because we want to move people. I don't think so. I think there was a cause. And we cannot politicize. We cannot politicize what led to her removal. We need to look at the merit and the demerit of the case.
Okay. So you do not see.
So concluding, she made a very big mistake, honorable moderator, to resign. She made a very big mistake. She shouldn't have done that.
The reason, okay, you do not see a trend here of this Black administration asserting control over semi-autonomous agencies. You don't see him trying to slowly loosen the grip of WIA era networks.
Yeah,
you don't see him recalibrating the balance of political influence.
We got to move on.
You don't see him recalibrating the balance of political influence. To me, this is nothing but politics.
Yeah,
and because if it was about corruption, and let me go back to my first point, Dr. Mali, I really appreciate your point. But if it was really about corruption, those people who are under sanctions would have been the first to prosecute. They're not doing that.
Thank you. This takes us to our next topic, which is the NTA bosses, the National Transit Authority. Some time ago, the president brought in some buses, and that was hailed as, a good thing, right? What we heard is another bus broke down, right? I think I have a clip here. So the Buaka administration promoted the arrival of these 35 new buses, plus minibuses and cargo truck, as a milestone for affordable transport, especially students and low-income commuters. But with these buses developing mechanical problem now, people actually question, okay, how we got these buses? How were they procured? All that. Now, are these buses having a problem? The one that broke down, let me see if I have the clip here. People were complaining. Take a listen.
My name is Alice Vulu. Okay. We're going to Nima, going to send anybody. Send them money. I pay 1,200 for loan myself. So the people they get a power job, other than I go home. For that to cancel and they feel the car they want to wait. We just die yesterday. What about all of that? With black and broke. So you already pay your money to the I pay my money. Anything I pay 300 for it. Myself 900. Okay, 900 for everybody. Say last year today, what about the So, I mean, I want you to tell us if they told you that they are going to make sure that the child will. We're not even getting nothing for them. Yes. So their money will be after 8. After 8 o'clock, I will stay here. Okay, Chief, yeah, so that's what I was talking to you. Tell us about what things are happening here. What is happening here? Yeah, what's happening here is, brother, since we came here this morning, we pick up by 7:30. Then up to now, we're doing a package here. They say a tire spot. Just come out here, just stand here, since the morning, since from 7:30 up to now. Oh, then level here, Banner is went by Benin.
All right. Dr. Mali, what do you think of these buses? And it's too early for them to be breaking down like this. What does this say about the procurement process and maintenance?
Well, Mr. Moderator, first of all, I want a retrospect. Bringing the buses, it was a huge relief. And I think the buses have been servicing the population of Monrovia. Since 1847, this is the first time I'm hearing the news that we have government buses heading for Ganta Nima County. This is a miracle.
What?
This must be a miracle in working. So, but if it comes to the point where one of the buses have collapsed due to unexplained problem, like the like tire and other thing, it is customary. It is customary. The buses, these are engine. Okay, we can't control them. We can only carry on persistent and constant maintenance. So if one of the buses broke down, so what are we trying to insinuate here? To say, oh, these are not good buses? No, it's customary that the buses could even break down 5 minutes to Ganta. So we're going to say. So you see the angry people, those who bought their ticket $900 to go to Ganta, the manner in which they're expressing these things is that they're not even appreciative in the first place. That's what I see there. And secondly, most of the opinions are being influenced by our opposition sympathizer. We can't do that. We need to look at the merit of the buses and where it took off from 1847. We haven't had such thing before in our country.
NTA.
So if we have, we have
NTA?
35 buses. If we have about 20, 25, 30 breaking down, that is of concern. But there's an isolated case. Just one single bus breaking down and the whole of Morelia want to come down. That's complete disservice to the government and people of Liberia.
Thank you. Jimmy, Dr. Mala says since 1847, we never had buses.
Yeah.
No, I said going to Ganta.
Yeah, I want. Let me tell you, I'm in agreement with Dr. Male that this is bringing some relief to the strained transportation issues in our country. It does, but when you only have $1 to eat, you gotta feed your family. You have to be very careful how you spend the money. There was not enough transparency around these deals, and I will tell you why. It is really surprising. First of all, if you look at those buses, they are not ideal for the environment in Liberia. We do not have enough paved roads for huge, long buses like that. We will have breakdown issues. We have all kinds of parts issues. We need where you have smaller buses that can run smaller routes, that will be easier to repair, that will be easier to keep on the road. So what was the reason that we take these huge buses and we don't have the routes for them? It didn't make it engineering wise. It didn't make sense. Economic. It's $3.94 million deal for these. I mean, I think about 35 buses or so. It didn't make sense. Now we're having all these problems. It would have been better if we get what Mr. Dr. Male and myself know what we call coaster buses. It would have been better we had coaster buses instead of these huge buses that don't fit our climate, our roads, and the ability to keep them afloat. What you would do with these large buses? It will eventually, in 2 years' time, we'll see all those buses parked. This is not the first time we've seen this, though, Dr. Malik. We've brought these big buses. I remember that for one time, long time ago, Renault gave us a loan, and they brought several of those large buses. And within 2 years' time, all those buses were parked. I'm not saying that the gesture to relieve transportation is wrong. I think I applaud that. But the decision to bring these type of buses is erroneous because they're difficult to maintain. They don't fit on our small roads, and we'll end up parking them and we'll not be able to fix them. So the $3.9 million will be indebted for $3.9 million, and we will not get the returns for that. So that is the problem with it. And it initiates from it being the whole deal not being transparent. Did it go to the PPC? Did it go to? I truly do not believe that you had any engineering analysis on the purchase of those buses before they were made, and that is the mistake. Not that we don't need transportation, and we've been doing this before. We want to see buses go to Trans-Equity. But what is the use of putting buses that will not last? That is the problem.
And Dr. Mallet, we have had almost the same problems of buses breaking down. This is not the first time. Remember what we refer to as normal days Liberia? We are MTA. That time we were MTA. They were packed. So the issue has always been maintenance. We also see that the roads condition in Monrovia, especially where these buses supposed to run, you see people are buying, even for these ministries, buying cars that they know they have no road to ply them. Forget this. I mean, so don't you think this has always been a problem, the way we procure things and also maintain things? What will you recommend to stop that kind of problem so that there's transparency when we are getting these buses? Yes, to get buses, good. Also, there are many things that we need to get, but we don't have the money. So there should be, what do you say about transparency, procurement, and maintenance when it comes to these public, not just these buses, the way we have been doing things over the years?
Well, every government comes with its own prescription and its own approach to things. But if the argument is that things have been happening over the years the same way, I think it's wrong. And we need to fix some things and put some things in place.
What do you think that is going to be?
Yeah, I'll come into that. But if the argument is that, like what senior panelist Isma just said, that the buses are suffering from climate adaptation. The buses come from country where the same climate we have in Liberia is there. You see? So, but let's move a little bit.
Which country they come from?
I learned, according to sources, some of them came from Ghana.
But so they manufacture in Ghana, or what do you mean?
Well, I don't know. I learned they were imported from Ghana. Some of them were imported from Ghana, according to my sources. Yes, and Ghana and Liberia have the same climate.
I hope they're not the buses that were parked for years. Do you understand? They Ghana experimented with those buses,
so,
and they found it was not feasible.
I can't speak to that because I don't have all the facts on that, whether they were packed for years or they came from somewhere.
What do you have facts on? Yeah. Because I want you to speak facts. What do you have facts on?
Well, the fact what I have fact on is that we have buses coming from Ghana to Liberia. It's a fact. They were in the paper.
So you know for a fact that the buses came from Ghana?
Yeah, some of them, yes.
You go ahead.
I stand to be corrected. Yes. I saw it in the paper, and our newspaper will not lie. Mm-hmm. I read it.
Well, Ghana does not they were not manufactured in Ghana, right?
Thank you.
Well, I didn't see that details in the paper.
No, so wait, now you don't know about Ghana doesn't manufacture.
Wait a minute now. I said I did not see it. Not the basis of assumption. It's a question of fact. If Ghana don't produce the buses or manufacture them, then it's a matter of putting the education down on the table for us to see it. Simple. All right. But what I'm saying, climate adaptation should not be a problem here with the buses.
No, it's not climate. Look, first of all,
you see, no, I come in, Mr. Ismail. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
You said these some of the buses are suffering from climate because they're not adapted to the climate and other things. No, I don't want to believe that's the issue. Let me go into the solution that the moderator asked. Okay.
As residents contend with unreliable and
upgrading
transport systems for commuters.
Upgrading it.
And you.
What's going on?
Okay, upgrading.
Yeah, upgrading our roads. That could be one good solution. Secondly, maintenance, persistent and constant maintenance is another solution. And lastly, getting maintenance, 1 or 2 maintenance technicians on board of these buses when they are traveling long distances is very good. But when Ismail bank on the issue that we need much smaller buses, we passed that stage now. We have to move into something more appreciable, something more tangible, something that will be reflective of the type of society we're running right now. These buses, we need them. They carry more accommodation than the mini buses that are almost like a death trap in Liberia. We can't be operating on the death trap buses. And Mr. Eastman, we can't do that. We got to elevate this thing to those type of buses, convenient, easy ride, comfort, and other things. They're going back to those days of the little mini coastal buses that are death trap in Liberia. We can go there again.
What do you mean death trap?
Oh, these smaller buses, they have no space. The people park there. So a little accident, a lot of people their injury.
No, you put more people inside, right? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, that's what they do. I've seen it. I rode so many
so
times.
Even the big buses, if you overcrowd them, then become death traps as well?
No, I don't have all the fact whether the big buses are overcrowded because they have certain number of seats there that you take, and going to Ganta, nobody going to pay $900 to be standing up to go to Ganta. I don't want to believe that.
Okay, Dr. Mata, let me put my engineering cap on. Let me go into the detail why these buses were not the best decision. I'm going into now scientific, electromechanical detail, economic and commercial analysis on these buses. First of all, the cost of fuel is higher for these buses. The same smaller bus can go many more miles than these larger buses with less fuel. So we're about to discuss the high recurrent costs of these buses. Spare parts. These buses require very much more expensive spare parts than those smaller buses. Those smaller buses, we have local mechanics that can even repair them. These ones require special training. Even the tires on those buses are more expensive than the smaller buses, okay? The drivers have to be specially trained to man these larger buses, turning corners, applying our tight sinews, tight streets is much more difficult with these large buses. Even the depreciation of these buses are higher than the lower buses. Okay, so we have a culture. You know, let's look at Liberia. We have a poor maintenance culture. Okay, we have limited technical capacity. Okay, and lastly, we have weak revenue collection. So when you look at the poor roads, the mechanics that are undertrained, the spare parts being expensive, the buses, preventive maintenance is ignored, then you say this is not the way we should go. We should go with a way that we can handle. All right. Now let me bring something up that is being hidden. A lot of these buses have inflated prices. Yes, they give you for loan, but their prices are inflated. They're kickbacks. That's why they allow these inflated prices. There are a lot of middlemen involved. There's political favoritism. Remember, these buses were mentioned before, and they cooled down. They had a fleet of these buses parked in Ghana, and they realized, they said, no, these buses are not going to turn over. We best get rid of them. And that's why they were parked. Now they send you the buses that they realized were not going to work. And unfortunately, we have taken that, and we're going to be on the hook for that. So these buses were poorly justified. They were politically driven. They were all inflated in cost. They were unsuitable for local conditions. They were lacking the supportive infrastructure. They were non-revenue generating, and they were adding to unsustainable debt. So what's the use? We haven't done anything. Yes, we got buses, but how long? I bet you in 2 years' time, you will not see one of those buses running again.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you just joined us, this is Friday Night Debate. We're talking about NaFAA bus resignation, the NTA bus breakdown. And our next is SKD Hotel Lease. You guys are Jonathan Subway. They call it, the Senate is investigating a 25-year lease of the Samuel Canyon Do SKD Sport Complex Hotel to Chinese investors working with a Liberian partner. According to Senator Subway, who himself was a former Lone Star player, said the hotel was intended for use by the national team. How did it end up to be, for Chinese investors? So they want the Chinese, they want those people to come to so that they could talk to them in the Senate. That's a matter. You heard that story too?
Oh yeah, I heard that story.
Right. Yeah. So does this, I don't know, the Chinese, sometimes we just hear Chinese, but they are working with a Liberian partner. Do you have any facts on the story, Dr. Mali? I want us to talk facts here. What are some of the facts you have on this story?
No, I read a particular story in the Daily Observer about this Chinese partnership with Liberians, and there being someone to I think the oversight hearing are very necessary at times, and the house has got a constitutional duty to always look into these things. So I don't know what they try to really identify, or what they try to really find out, or what they are trying to really tell them. But from my own candid view, I think it's about time that we move into privatization in Liberia now, because it seems to me our management a lot of stuff by ourselves it's not going well.
Like in the case of the hotel?
Yeah, like in the case of the hotel, you bring it in.
They said they were building it so that when Lone Star training, they have a place to stay. So is that like was the intention was not to lease it to somebody else to use it?
Yeah, but don't also forget now, time changes, and the changing time affects lay down policy at time, given the circumstances under which we operate. So if we have this situation where Lone Star players, when they train and they have to sleep there, and we're looking for means to get money to also maintain the stadium, with the changing time, after playing, we'll provide you bus, you go home and go sleep. Things can be stagnant. We got to make some development, you see? So you're always sleeping there and we can't make money. It's about money. How do we maintain this place? We can't turn it into charity.
Right. So to do that, there are laws. You go through, there are laws, PPCC and all the different laws that are there. Say, if you want to put this out for bid, this is how you proceed with it. Right. So it can just be one company set up and then boom, they get it. So just like you were saying, because of the changing time, do you believe that the bidding process should be transparent?
Well, don't also forget that government is a strategic and complex institution. And sometimes it becomes difficult to even fulfill some of the policies and some things in our panel law.
So you break the law.
Given the fact that we are running a society, we should be able to adhere to these rules and regulations. But in an event where given circumstances become very unbearable, we will have to, we are human beings, we are not robots. We'll have to circumvent something for the interests of the institution.
And who determines that interest?
Well, as I said, we are running a society. Either those who are in charge or those who have come to co-pilot these projects. Because there are bosses there, I'm sure. So like for instance, the procurement, you have to go through the procurement to do other things. I agree with that. These are the laws we put down. We should adhere to them. But under the circumstances where we don't adhere to them, then it becomes a problem. But again, we shouldn't forget, We are human beings. We are infallible. And sometimes we the lawmakers, we become the law breakers. That's just the fact.
Thank you, Jimmy. What's your take on this development about Lone Star, the stadium that is now being leased to a Chinese company for 25 years?
Thank you. You know, in this life, if you do not recognize your ability, your capacity, your ability to perform, then you will always try to do something and fail. I'm going to look at our ability to maintain those facilities. You remember during the RIA administration, FIFA banned that stadium. We could not use the stadium because it fell under the requirements of an international playing facility. It was not until we did some repairs and did some renovations before we could start hosting games at that facility. What I'm trying to point out here, we have not been maintaining the place very well. And why is that? We have budgetary complaints. We'll look at the budget tomorrow. Are they going to appropriate enough money to maintain that stadium? If they're not going to put enough money in the budget to maintain the stadium, then it's reasonable to want to lease it out to a company that will maintain it. We've seen the consequence of not taking the correct action. I will bring you to Hotel Africa. Hotel Africa today is a shell of itself. Millions of dollars are gone. But had they gone ahead and leased it to a company that would have kept Hotel Africa up, that would have stopped the sea erosion that has taken place there, today we will still have Hotel Africa as a viable economic resources in the country. So should we allow these entities to break down, knowing very well we are not doing a good job maintaining it? Now, I'm not in favor of leasing all our resources to foreigners. I'd rather a Liberian do it. Now, that's the only consideration I would have. Can we have a Liberian company that will do it? But to allow that stadium to go down to ruins like we did Hotel Africa, like we did Ducor, definitely we should not. And if the only way to do that is to lease it for a company to take over for a few number of years, then that's the way to go. That is recognizing your own limitations and doing what will be best for your survivability. Now, until we can restore our capacity to be able to capable of taking care, until we appropriate enough in the budget that will properly maintain the SKD stadium and hotel, then the other option is to lease it. At least we'll still have a stadium. Today we don't have a Hotel Africa. That's where I am on this.
Dr. Malo, you agree, except for the process? Because basically you're saying, hey, the people, whoever is in charge can decide whatever. And then you mentioned government is continuity, right? But government is not the executive branch alone. The Senate now calling these people, they're part of the government. So I want you to come at this again, because earlier I was not understanding your position on how this should go. Yes, we can privatize if we can maintain some, but the process leading to that should be some form of transparency. Are you saying, hey, whoever is in charge, can be that benevolent dictator? Whatever they do is we sure is in the interest of the people. I want you to rephrase or maybe restate your position on this SKD hotel.
Yeah, moderator, we also shouldn't forget that we are running a tier war society.
What does that mean?
Liberia is a tier war country. we're not up to certain level yet. We're not even
Technology
up
started.
to.
First of all, the word third world, we don't use it anymore. We say developing country, right? So
No.
you are saying Liberia is a developing country. So we are not supposed to expect transparency. We should not expect even to eat good food. I mean, other developing countries are doing better. So I want to really think about what you're saying.
Whether we sugarcoat it or not, Liberia is still a third world country. If you do your research, Liberia is still fall in a third world country, no matter what. We try to polish it a little bit, say developing. But let's get to the issue.
So you mean having limited capacity? So you mean we have limited capacity? Is that what you're referring to?
It's part and parcel of it. Yes, of course, yes.
Okay, very good.
This one came in with something very important here. I just want to elaborate on it.
I want to elaborate on this third world. Liberia is third world. So what does it mean?
Liberia is third world. We have a lot of deficiency, a lot of inadequacy, a whole lot of things is going wrong. We can't even manage. Okay, come with your question now.
No. Therefore, you say we are third world. We can manage that. We can manage that. So we should not expect anything better out of Liberia. Is that what
we expect something to some level? Yes.
Ghana is also.
No. You know why we're grappling with a whole lot of problem in Liberia right now? Like for instance, like what we just talked about, the maintenance of this thing, bringing the Chinese in, other things, this and that, all due to these systemic deficiencies over the many years. So when Mr. Ismail just said about putting money in the budget, I think this time around now, putting money in the budget, I don't think we have that capacity now. Let's get foreign institution coming to train our people, or we're sending them outside this time around. But we're getting people in there called as an engineer, or also training other engineer. We're not getting nowhere. We're not going nowhere. So this time now, if you put money into the budget, get 15, 20 technicians, send them outside so they get in contact with other new ideas how to do things. Then I think we're going to take it from there and move forward. Yes.
And so you are saying this because Liberia is third world.
Yes.
How about Ghana and Nigeria?
Ghana and Nigeria?
Also,
when you do the research, they are third world. They stay in the third world.
So they don't train their own engineers. They don't do any of that.
I have not done their research. I can speak to that.
So the problem of Liberia faces is not because Liberia is a developing country. Because you are saying we don't have this, we are deficient, we can't do this because this is a developing country.
Is that a lie?
Other developing countries, no. Compare that to other developing countries. That's the same issue you have.
I have not compared it with other developing country.
Why?
In the first place, Nigeria and Ghana. I went to school in Ghana. I spent a lot of time in school in Ghana. The education in Ghana there, you can compromise it. There are no shortcut to it. All right.
So that's what I'm trying to say now. But you are saying Liberia problem is because Liberia is developing country.
Liberia is I can't even call it developing country. Liberia is a third world country.
We don't use that term anymore.
No, but it's stay on the book.
No, we took it from there.
No, if you go search it, you will see it there. Okay, let's go by your prescription. Liberia is a developing country. So what's the question, moderator?
No, you are saying we are having the problem because we are developing countries. What about other developing countries? You're saying we shouldn't expect much out of Liberia. We shouldn't do this. Buses will malfunction. So we should always.
We want to make the comparison when we should have studied the other developing country.
But why you never studied them? I studied them.
Yeah, you studied them. I have not studied them to make a comparison with a particular issue.
But you went to school in Ghana, and you still don't know the two systems. You can compare Liberia and Ghana.
No, if you want to compare Liberia and Ghana, Ghana is far ahead in so many areas.
Okay.
In the first place, Ghana believe in institutional discipline. That's the first thing. Secondly, Ghana is not corruption free, but they may attempt to curtail corruption.
Well, very good. But you hit it on the nail, Dr.
Curtail corruption. In most of the developing country, including my country, the Republic of Liberia, corruption has become a habit. You see, we live with corruption, eat corruption, and walk corruption. And so it's like I would decide to steal at free will and just say, oh, I will be dismissed and move on. And for sure, you be dismissed and move on. It's not like that for what I saw in Ghana.
Okay. Well, let me ask you, Dr. Mali.
And I was in Ghana when Jerry Rodden rise up. And I saw what happened when it came to corruption, punishing corruption to the bone. All right. So the developing country, they varies by so many factors.
Thank you.
But Dr. Mali, according to what you just said, the problem is not that we are a third world country, but rather corruption is impeding our progress, impeding our ability to build capacity and to grow.
You know why?
It is not the fact that we are third world, but is our inability to combat corruption in the society.
I disagree with you. Corruption is part and parcel of the systemic control of Liberia. All right. So if you are unable to even control corruption, it's because of your weaknesses, and that weaknesses is attached to your inability as a developing country, because you have not grown to that level yet to realize your own potential. But if you grow to that level, first of all, to cultivate the seed of patriotism and see Liberia as my country. And so I will fight to defend it. And so the resources should be equally distributed. And I will rise up and make sure people are accountable. We have not reached that stage yet. And so you are a developing country. And until you can transcend that level, you are still a developing country. This is the reason why we're discussing the issue.
Yeah, but there have been other examples of countries that were at our stage, and they made certain reforms, certain convictions, like the one you took, like I love Singapore. They made certain convictions about corruption, and they began to implement it. So it is not the fact that you don't have the capacity, but you are not doing what you need to do to build that capacity because you are being entrapped by the terror syndrome. That's why you are not able to move forward. You are entrapped. You are in a box. That is called fatalistic.
So South Korea, I was just researching their corruption law. The people have got 36 corruption reform law. So if you want to dodge the way, the other side will catch you. You have not even reached that stage yet. So we are entrapped in a corrupt syndrome, and we can't move forward. We can't go nowhere. And the worst part about us, moderator, we have gone, our society have produced too many corrupt officials, over too many corrupt generation of corrupt people over the many years since 1847. So from my own assessment, in every 10 officials in Liberia, 9 are contaminated.
I don't know where you're getting this thing from, but
I said from my own assessment.
I mean, you're condemning this.
Let me just take you back to the police.
No,
I was told. I was told by a confidant that in the police force, in every 10 police officer, you get about 8 there are ex-rebel. A confidant who went to the police told me this. I have that research to get our facts. All right. So you know why it is happening? Because we are a developing country. I want to use the moderator terminology now. We are a developing country.
I disagree.
Okay,
that's not why it's happening. It is because we are not. What you're really saying is what they call fatalism, that you've given up. If right now, I was poor a long time ago, didn't have an education, and I fought to get an education, to get a job, to get skills. That's what transformed my living. We have to fight to build the capacity we need. We have to combat corruption as much as we can. We have to initiate the patriotism you talked about. That would change our trajectory. But if we're not doing it, then you say, oh, well, we just third world country. No, we are not doing the things to change.
Why? Why are you not doing it? Why?
Because you are used to doing things the old way, the corrupt way. And it takes a mind change. You have to change the people's way of thinking that this is not what you saw what Rawlings did. I'm glad you were in Ghana. I myself spent some time in Ghana. You know what Rawlings did? Those people who were still bent on corruption, he put them on a pole.
Okay. Why do you think he put them on the pole?
He did that to correct, to discourage corruption.
Good.
Okay, so we have to take action to discourage the same. It's not going to happen any other way. That's what Singapore did. If you try some kind of corruption in Singapore today, you finish. We have to put those things in place. But what we do, when one administration comes, they take their own. The next one comes, they take their own. We do not follow up. I told you when we started this program that our people have been sanctioned. There is evidence against these people, Dr. Mali. There is concrete evidence on them, but we don't do anything with it. We allow this culture of corruption to continue.
So then, Mr. Ismail, at what point now we will have a government to bring solutions to some of these things? At what point in our national life?
It's at the point where we start taking actions, concrete actions. When somebody sees somebody go to jail, so somebody gets severely punished, that will discourage. The reason why you and I think you're in the U.S., why we don't drink and drive, because we know very well we'll be out of $20,000. They will put us in jail. The only way you discourage wrong behavior is to punish it. No other way.
I agree.
Until we start punishing ill behavior, it's not going to change.
I agree with you. So when do we do that?
Now.
No, and that's your question too. But what you are saying consistently is we can't do anything because we're terror. But
yeah, but what have we done?
That's a different show. But to say because we terror, what's about other terror? But let me announce that if you want to join the conversation, we have 30 minutes to close. Please call 605-313-6004. The code is 791-403#. But as we wait for our callers to come in,
yeah, moderator, I think FSA he's waiting on the line.
I don't see. Maybe this is a glitch in the system because I don't see any. But I'm looking at the system now. I'm not seeing it. Or you say because we terror.
I like it.
Right.
Like
So again, let's go back to the number.
Everything you're waiting. I don't know what's going on.
605-313-6004. The code 791. Yeah, I see that I'm online.
Yeah, moderator, while we're waiting for the caller to call,
I want us to comment on something quickly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. 791-403#. You know, there's let me read this, and I will look at the phone line to see what's going on here. But this is this whole idea of and I'm going to have on a Saturday. I already have people to talk about this. Sunday and Poro. There's a bill in the House that talk about harmful traditional practices. I didn't know that as far back as 2000 or March 2020, 2025, the Ministry of Internal Affairs have banned all Sunday and Poro activities from as of March 2025 all the way to January 2026. Also, there's a press release by the mayor of Foya. And let me
I read a press release.
let me read that. It says the office of the district commissioner, no, not mayor, district commissioner of Foya wishes to inform all traditional leaders, elders, chiefs, youth groups, women groups, community residents, and the general public that the suspension of Poro and Sunday activities remains fully enforced across the district. This announcement is made in strict adherence to the directive of the Ministry of Internal Affairs, which has placed a nationwide ban on all Poro and Sunday operational activities. Reinforcement of the suspension. Number one, no Poro or Sunday activities, whether initiation, graduation, gathering, consultation, or related practices are permitted anywhere within Foya district until further notice. This statement serves as a strong reinforcement of the earlier communication issue, reminding all communities that the ban remains active and unchanged. And it went on and on and on. I want you to talk about it, but before you come in, let me check the phone lines. While we check the phone line, we're gonna play what many are calling. We're gonna play the Focus on Liberia anthem.
From the shores of Monrovia to the world online, a voice rises higher, standing strong through time, telling stories of a people, lifting truth with pride. Where the heartbeat of a nation has a home to shine. You give the voiceless power. You let the world all see the beauty and the struggle of our history. Through every debate, every story you tell, light up the darkness where silence once fell. Focus on Liberia, let the truth be our guide. A bridge for every Liberian, at home and worldwide. You carry us our stories, our hopes and our dreams, uniting a nation through your powerful streams. Focus on Liberia, forever we stand, with knowledge, with courage, rebuilding our land. In the diaspora cities where our people roam, you connect every voice to the place we call home. From politics to culture, every truth you unfold, keeping Liberians informed, empowered and bold. You're the drumbeat of freedom, the echo of peace, the fire that reminds us our pride never ceases. And through every challenge, you rise up again, a guardian of wisdom with the heart of a friend. Focus on Liberia, let the truth be our guide. A bridge for every Liberian, at home and worldwide. You carry our story, our hopes and our dreams, uniting a nation. Be a powerful team.
All right. Let's get our first caller here. I think there's something wrong with our system here. Evans, go ahead. You're live.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. John. Hello to you and the panelists. I wanted that I avoid the air I was singing in there, so it's not a good job. Nice quiet singing in the back. But I just want to say in this discussion, at least slightly on the side of Dr. Mara Jones, he's almost regurgitating some of the talking points I've made. A lot of people always disagree with those talking points. I'll use Dr. Pearson math. You're trying to do the budget. So the $1.2 billion budget, that's if we get all the money we're supposed to get. That's $240, for every Liberian. That's less than $1 a day for an entire year. So, and remember, this is a record-breaking budget in our nation's history. So let's say nobody stole any of that money, that $1.2 billion, and we use it to help better the lives of every Liberian. That's only $240 US dollars going to each citizen, less than $1 a day. So the issue here is, yes, corruption plays a part, but the fact that we have a budget of $1.2 billion and we may not even actualize it, it's a huge problem for our human development. So the fact that we can't raise sufficient revenue to make meaningful impacts on the life of our people, it harkens back that the fact that we're a poor nation, we have massive limitation when it comes to our resources. That's going to hinder the kind of things you can do. Maintaining your infrastructure, building new infrastructure and maintaining it. Lack of budget, or lack of resources will hamper that. And that's what we're seeing in the country. So he's right to extend that being a quote-unquote third world country or the 8th or 9th poorest country in the world, it's going to limit you from doing a lot of things, even the basic things for your people. Maintaining your roads, building, a hotel or maintaining stadiums, things that cost $5 million seem like such a tall order because you're already strapped for cash. So I agree with him on that part. The issue with Emma Glasgow resigning, it's just a formality. We already knew they took her from there forcefully. She was a tenured person. I'm sure they had some negotiations behind the scene. And this is the pattern of this government. Mm-hmm. We're seeing it. I don't know why you guys, but that's your discretion. I don't know why we didn't talk about the coup in Guinea-Bissau, but never think that it's too far-fetched for Liberia. I want to go back to the days of President Weah, when he had Prince C. Johnson as the head of the military, not somebody, quote-unquote, from his region. As we've seen with many presidents, quote-unquote, native presidents, always like to put people there that's from their region or people they feel comfortable with. The moment President Boyka came to power, what did he do? He retired the guy, put him in a civilian position. Remember when they were trying to do a Cornwall, it was a big deal. People thought he was trying to take the military, power that he had and make him to a civilian. He refused it. Well, what did President Boyka do? Retire that guy, put his nephew there, and now he feels secure maybe because he thinks he has the military on his side or the military will protect him if anything happens. So when we're talking about ruling a country, you have to be balanced. You can't be afraid of your own people. Because when you're afraid of them, you mistrust the vast majority of the people in the country, and you build a war around you of sycophants and tribal, people affiliated to you through tribal lineage. You're always going to, lead yourself down a road that you can't maintain. Liberia is not a excuse from a coup. It can happen in Liberia, and a lot of people think that because we've been peaceful all these years, something like that can't happen in the country. It don't matter who you put it. You put your grandpa there. If somebody wants to do a palace school, they can do a palace school. We're not praying for it. It probably won't happen in Liberia. We pray it doesn't. But I'm just saying these are things that President Boyka should learn from. The fact that news came out that this lady finally, quote-unquote, resigned when the government had made it known that she was removed for cause, as they were trying to make it seem like, why accept her resignation when you already fired her technically for cause? So it's just the same shady thing that he did at the bank. The other people from LTA, it's the same thing here that we're seeing. The president is shown that he doesn't respect the rule of law, and it's a continuous process. You got something going on in Foya, building, mansion. You can't attest to it. Now we hear he's going after the Clear Foundation for corruption, but we're seeing blatant corruption in his government. He's being selected in who he goes after. Nobody is calling it out.
And
so I think we need to.
I want to also talk about that Cloud Foundation too, right? And on stay on the line. I want to get Dr. Malley, Jimmy, the Claudia Foundation, right? And I got a very strong position on it, but let me hear yours. And stop talking about cool, Ellis, Ellis. You referencing cool. We don't want cool. So Claudia, as first lady, built the Claudia Hope Foundation. Now the government is saying through the integrity institution that, hey, you use government money in this thing, so we want it back. Kind of. What do you make of this? Isn't it obvious as first lady, whatever you got, and she's saying, hey, this is from donor funds. We didn't use government money. We went out, and my husband and myself. So it's people give us the money free. It's non-government. Do you buy that, Jimmy?
Thank you. That is a very a pertinent issue, because we do know that Claria was the first lady, and that she acquired all that property through her influence as first lady. We also know that the donors that contributed to the building of the, what they call it, Hope Village.
Mm-hmm.
The Hope Village, they did it. They didn't see her per se, but they saw Liberia, that she was soliciting as the first lady of Liberia. So it begs the question, are those contributions to Liberia, or are those contributions to Claria Foundation? And I would argue that the foundation was established for Liberia. Now, before simply turning it over, though, to Liberia, knowing our track record in maintaining and running these kind of facilities, I would still want Claria to have a functional involvement in the Hope Village, but it still should be the property of the people of Liberia.
Right. And Dr. Malik, isn't this a no-brainer? I mean, why would you build something as a first lady and say this is my personal property? Does that make any sense, Dr. Malik?
I would say yes, and I would say no.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with a yes. With all due respect to Her Excellency, the former First Lady, Claudia, if she had gone out there and so to say funding and try to help the children of Liberia, those very children are her children too, because she's our former First Lady, and we'll always give her that due respect at all times. And she decided to put out this thing from donor funding. And probably the government wants to know where the funding came from. This is a government. She should be open enough to open her book for government to see, but not to take it.
But isn't it obvious that this is government money? You first lady.
I said yes.
Somebody gave you a cup of water, they're giving it to you first. Yeah, I want to hit the nail on the head.
I said yes, and I said no.
Mm-hmm.
I've been told, according to sources, that Claudia had been on the Liberian budget on 3 different occasions. And at one point, she was even allotted $7 million. Okay? And I strongly believe that
the First Lady office.
Yes, the First Lady office. This is an unelected office. $7 million I learned was allotted to this office, fine. But my argument here is that if for any reason, whosoever you are, and you are allotted, you are in the budget, and the budget constitutes taxpayer money and donor money, and for some reason we find problem, how you managing this thing, as a government will have all right to go in and find out what is going on. And so personalizing this project, Cloud We Are Hope project, all that kind of thing, I think it was wrong. But if the government come to the conclusion that yes, most of the money that went into this project was government money, government can change the name and still allow her to manage it on payroll, and we pay her for her service. Rather than just removing her completely, I will not go that direction. But we can take it from her, and she be the new manager. We can hire her to be the new manager, and we can fire her anytime.
Thank you. But my question to you also is, let's say if actually the money gotten was through gift, donor funding.
Yeah.
Does that mean it's not government money? And that means it's a personal business?
You said through donor funding?
Yeah, let's say people from Europe, Argentina, or friends, the president friend donated the money.
Yeah, government have the right. Government have the right to look into those finances. Why? She got the money on the basis of the title. And that title belonged to the Republic of Liberia. Well, all that title, she wouldn't have gotten that money.
Thank you. Yeah. Let me go to Elvis. Elvis, what do you make of this Cloud We Are Hope? You think it is personal or it should be government property?
All right, thank you. Look, I think it's an issue of law, right? So if there is a law in our constitution, especially to do with emoluments of, getting gifts and things like that, if there's a law that says that if you got any gift by virtue of your position, that gift is then, the government. And then if she got any funding through that means, then yeah, it should be for the government, if that's what the law says. But the president and executive can't arbitrarily just take the City of Hope and say because she got some funding from government, it belongs to the government, unless the law says that. But let me just say another thing when it comes to the Joseph Boyka Foundation, right? We've never heard about Joseph Boyka giving anything substantial to anybody, even when he was vice president through his foundation. When he became president, he went to JFK, he was giving 3D printed tubs and things for, our new mothers. Where he got that money from? When Stanton Witherspoon donated money to Joseph Boyka, where he got that money from, did he account for it as president by virtue of the office of the presidency? So we have to be fair on both sides. The president has a foundation now. People, everything that go on with the president. But some of that people donated when they were renovating his house. People said that Lebanese and other people were renovating the house.
So you see the pattern, right?
So that's what I'm saying. So if you're using this criteria for Claire Weir, I guess when President Boyka leaves office, we have to take his house because people donated to help him refurbish his house, and thereby that belongs to the Liberian people. We have to use that same logic. But thank you. I think somebody else is on the line. I'll probably jump off so somebody else can come on.
Thank you. Let me bring in the UK trained Joe Moyo. Joe, you live.
Yes, sir. Yeah, good program, Dennis, as usual. Look, this is very simple. Usually, organizations that receive donor funding, say in the case of Cloud Weir, they will have a wall or a plaque that lists all the donors, because there will be a time that, people might question where she got, the source of her funds, for funding and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if she has one, but usually there's a plaque. So these are all the donors here, or sometimes a wall. That's what they do in the U.S. and most places. If you claim to be a 501c and you receive donation from, from external sources, be it local or foreign, that's what it's done. That's the standard operating procedure. So I don't know if she did something, of that type.
Mm-hmm. And why in office, right? Because why in office if you have your own foundation as president or as first lady? We saw that with now even president. We are 40 or more condominium. Like for what? So definitely, and these are things that are going to always remain shrouded in secrecy. So you are Claudia, you are First Lady, you have a foundation. You are Joseph Boakai, you are President, you have a foundation. So how do we actually separate the office of the President or the office of the First Lady from these foundation and these are other charitable organizations? That's a problem. How do we address that?
That's a good question. Once again, that's how this thing about having a plaque or something like that. That sort of it's kind of like a line of delineation. You've got a group that handles your foundation that while you're in office, you got nothing to do with. And they will receive the funding. As they receive the funding, so okay, XYZ made this donation. We'll put them on the wall. Here's our plaque with all our donors. So the government wouldn't have to go through this process of forensic audits and all that. Already told it, dispose of your funding. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Thank you. Jimmy, let's talk about this whole foundation. Maybe how you call it in business divestiture or something. Because this is like going to be a pattern now. When you in power, you get your foundation.
Thank you.
This. Dennis, I don't know whether that's something.
Dennis, the real problem is lack of transparency. Lack of transparency. Liberia has no published investment breakdown. There should be a complete breakdown on how money is invested in Liberia. There is no clear public partnership agreement. There's no audit report on construction funds. There is no stated ownership structure during the whole administration of Clara Weir. There's no land paperwork that we can look at the land, how she got it, and how it was acquired. So all these things, Dr. Mallett hit some things. The reason, yes, we are a third world or developing nation, but the way we do things has to change for us to take a different trajectory, for us to move out of that status to another. But we have to start conforming to norms, the rules and regulations that will transform our society. But we're doing the same thing we used to do in 1847. We're doing the same, using the same practices. Okay? The whole project, well, first of all, it was marketed as a national initiative. Okay? So everybody just knew it was a national thing. The government promoted it as a national asset. The public donated goods and services to it. The name itself, Hope Village, aligns with public welfare. So even state agencies supported it. So how now we can say it's a private thing? I'm a little bit surprised. I don't think Claudia wants to keep it under her ownership, but I'm sure she doesn't want it to die like how our other projects have gone and died, like Hotel Africa, like Ducor. All those other projects have died. And maybe that is why she is showing caution. But until we start doing things differently, and mind you, Dr. Mallett, the people know to do it differently. They just don't. They choose not to because it's easier.
Thank you.
When there's lack of transparency, to do what they want to do. You know, it's just easier. I said somebody commented. I will just leave with it that President Doe put people on the poll, or Master Sergeant Doe put people on the poll. Yeah, but if you put people on the poll and you turn around and start doing the same thing you put on the poll, then you have not fulfilled the revolution. The revolution was to change that way of doing things, not to put certain people on the pool. It was to change the way we do things. And we, as long as we're not going to change the way we do things, then we don't accomplish the goals of the revolution. I'll leave it right there.
And that's my fear as we conclude. That's my fear. I'm for the government to take this Clawia thing to discourage that. But what, you got this, even if you have held the money from donors because you were in the office. So please, and as I understand, former First Lady Jewel Howard Taylor did the same thing. She built it and then she turned it over to the public. But now when it comes to Clawia, it's different. No, I think this belongs to the Republic and they should relinquish that. But my fear is, what will the Bouakai administration do afterwards?
Mm-hmm.
Will we have the same situation where the Bouakai Foundation or we have a Kasumu Foundation doing the same thing? That's the fear, but really they shouldn't.
Yeah, but moderator, I think every struck a point. Can we go revisit our laws? And this time we are very clear in our laws that indeed First Lady can get a budget in our national budget. And be clear that whatsoever project they will lift during the tenure of their husband, can it be considered a government project and be turned over? We can be clear with the law. I think ever came from that background. I support that. That'll be clear.
I think the law is already there somehow.
No, you sure?
You can't be building things personally.
No, you sure the laws are there?
Yeah, the laws are there. People are just corrupt. Jimmy hit it on the head. Transparency.
Okay.
Hold on one second.
But then where is the law?
Hold on 1 second, right? Mm-hmm. Are we transparent where the money that you use to build this? Right? So if there is transparency in what you do, the money where it comes from to do this, then we clearly see it. If there's the office money or you receive gifts, whatever it is, as long as there's secrecy, we don't know where the money comes from. So the laws are there. People are not just open to tell us.
Well, I don't know whether the laws are already there. I don't know. But my point here is, if you come into power, like for instance, His Excellency President Bouakai, he got a foundation before he came to power. What the law says about that? All right. So when you come to power and you have a foundation, if we got a law that is clear there, then the question now is, we should not personalize this project because these are state assets.
People have foundations and like in anyway. The legal people would discuss that, but people.
But let me ask you: assuming you went to Liberia, you had an NGO, and the government decided to give you 100,000 to help with the NGO. Time came, you can't say anything about the money. You think the government have a right to take it from you?
That report. That's what I was saying about transparency. If whatever money they give you, like before I become superintendent of Sino County, I'm running focus on Liberia, right? So if I get there is this a divestiture that, hey, separate yourself from your personal company as you do government business. That's why even when you're running a small nonprofit, they don't want you to co-mingle funds. Keep these things separate. So you can be receiving, because when you, by virtue of you being president or first lady, you're going to receive gifts. Even if you have a God Bless You Foundation, everybody want to donate to that foundation. So when you donate to the President Foundation, or when you give the president birthday card, you're going to get kickback. You're going to get things. You're going to get favors. That's why here in America, they will make laws. When I was, training, I used to train some people. The highest you can receive from them as give, I think $11 or $22. Lunch said you're not supposed to take it because they know very well when you eat somebody something, you got to sing their song. So even if you come to the president and say this 1 million is for you free, don't take it because that person will get something back. So when President Weah said they give me the airplane to bring morale, we have problem with it. But let's wrap it up. Let's conclude on the issues that we discussed so far. Let's get a minute each concluding your pattern comment. Dr. Mali, and then Jimmy, and then we call it a night.
Okay.
Well, I think it was an excellent show, and it was a great debate. So the issue of this lady, the Resignation, I think she went the wrong direction, and she has her reputation at stake, and there are a whole long future ahead of her. She's supposed to look into that, maintain and make sure to clear her side. And with the issue of the buses, I think there's a need for us to send most of our people out instead of we relying on technician in the system team not working. We still rely on these people. I think it's about time that we engage them outside, find money, let people get trained outside, and be in contact with other knowledge, how people do things outside with the whole thing, because this is where even our role issue.
What does outside? What do you mean?
I mean, send people outside to be trained.
Where?
It could be America, it could be Ghana, it could be just outside.
Well, why we can't bring the trainer into Liberia
right?
and train them?
No, they will be compromised. Just send them outside. Because when you come outside, my problem is when you come outside to train and you're supposed to be to the training ground at 8 o'clock and you there late, you be penalized.
Let me tell you.
When you go late, it will be compromised. So get outside and get the training with some level of discipline. That's where I'm coming from.
And then when you come back?
But other than that, all that homeboard thing we're doing is not going to work.
What you call homeboard thing?
Oh, the homeboard thing is the train down there. We do it the same way. We know each other. Nothing working. That the homeboard thing right there.
All right, let's conclude your 1 minute.
So finally, on the issue of Liberia being a developing country, I have to go the direction of the moderator now. I don't know, least developing country or developing country. I don't know where we stand anyway. But what we're saying here is that there are too many compromises in the system. Like, for instance, we all are in this country, this great country. The country is successful on one thing: the enforcement of their laws. No compromise, whosoever you are. All right? Is Liberia prepared to go that direction? No. I become just a minister now. Maybe Mr. Ja or Mr. Dennison, maybe went the other way around and he's arrested. I mean, other that you get arrested, you got to face just the other thing. First of all, Mr. Ismail take a phone. Oh, Dr. Mali, 10 years ago, oh man, we're on a platform with Ja. Then, the Ja too called me, oh, my man Mali, I mean, you can't do the kind of thing here. We are all colleagues now. This is what's spoiling the system in Liberia. This is what's spoiling the system in Liberia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jimmy.
Yeah, tonight's discussion revealed a single, undeniable truth. Liberia's progress depends on courageous honesty, transparent governance, and the willingness to put national interests above personal or political convenience. When systems lack clarity, accountability, public oversight, and the nation pays the price all the time. I know we didn't talk a lot about the Poro and the Sani society, but harmful traditions need to be banned if they are unhealthy. I do not put tradition over health. I don't believe in it.
I'm bringing a graduate from the school so we can discuss that.
I don't see why we will put tradition over health. There were several things that were banned before. Do you know ritualistic killing was very legal before? So we'll allow people to kill people because that's a tradition?
Say that again. Ritualistic killing was legal.
Ritualistic killing was legal before.
Legal?
In past societies. No. Okay?
In Liberia?
They used to sacrifice children and what to the sun god, all in Aztec, not just Africa. It was legal, but should we continue it? Okay, so these traditional practices, if they are harmful, are unhealthy, should be no question as to we need to curtail it. And FGM, female genital mutilation, is a high topic over there. I believe in tradition. I think that the poorer and the societies provided ethics and a sense of leadership to young boys. But if it might have been mixed with a few things, can't we weed out the negative things and continue? Now, for the loans for the buses, look, if they do not have economic value and are only driven by political optics, it's not going to do us no good. Okay? Those big buses we brought are not what we need. Okay? So what else we talk? As for the leasing and the assets of SKD Stadium and Hotel, while it may be feasible, we still need to consider our sovereignty, and we need to make sure we're not repeating the same risks we took before. I always cite Hotel Africa. Why have we lost Hotel Africa? It was better for us to lease that place than to see it go where it is today. And Hope Village, lastly, Hope Village represents a national humanitarian venture. Should it be for Liberia? I don't see why not. But what will happen if they turn it over? So I think we need to be transparent in our actions, and a lot of these things what we're running into will not occur, but we choose not to. So we have to deal with these things in the aftermath. I'll leave it right there.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Dr. Mala. I want to thank our viewers. Always focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Until then, we close with our song that says, "We are all Liberians." Have a good night, and God bless.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.